K. Prakash, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. In the last session, in the video 1, we have discussed about the heat engines. Can anyone tell me what is heat engine? What we have discussed in the last class? What is heat engine? Can anyone tell?
Heat energy is converted into mechanical energy and the machine runs
Okay, what is the lineage? So the heat energy is converted into mechanical energy. So that is called as heat engines. So what are the types you have seen? Can you tell? Two types.
External combustion.
Very good. External combustion engine and internal combustion engine. So in the today's class, we are going to discuss about the classification of internal combustion engines. How the internal combustion engines is classified. Okay. So the first classification is based on the engine fuel. Okay. So in the real time, what are the types of engines available based on the fuel? Based on the fuel, what are the types of engines?
petrol engine.
Very good. Petrol engine and diesel engine. So we are using fuel as petrols or diesel. So based on that, we can classify as petrol engines and diesel engines. Second one is based on the working cycle. Okay. So normally in an IC engine, what happens is suction, compression, power, exhaust. So this is called as an cycle. Okay. So here in diesel engine is what's based on diesel cycle, whereas petrol engine works on basis on Otto cycle. Not petrol cycle, it is Otto, because Otto is the person who invented this cycle. So based on his name, it is Otto cycle. So diesel is also a scientist called as Rudolf Diesel. Based on his name only, it is called as diesel cycle. So based on the cycle, we can classify as Otto cycle or diesel cycle engines. Next one is based on the number of cylinders. Okay. Based on your assumption, in bikes there is 2-stroke, 4-stroke. Okay. So this is one classification. What is the difference between 2-stroke and 4-stroke? Any idea? 2-stroke, 4-stroke. Okay. So how many strokes are there? Suction. What happens? Piston comes downwards. It is called as suction. Next one is compression. Third one is power stroke. Fourth one is exhaust. Okay. If this suction takes place at one stroke, and then compression, and then power, exhaust, all takes place in single strokes. So that is called as 4-stroke engine. Okay. Whereas in the 2-stroke engines, what happens is suction and compression takes place in one stroke, power and exhaust takes place in another stroke. So that is 2-stroke. So based on the stroke, we can classify this engine as 4-stroke and 2-stroke. Now I am posting a question to you. In bikes, we are using 4-stroke or 2-stroke? 4-stroke and 2-stroke. Any one model for 4-stroke? Passion Pro. It is 4-stroke. Honda City. What about 2-stroke? RX. Okay. So now we are clear with the classifications. Okay, now next, based on the stroke, first we have seen based on the cycle, based on the fuel, based on the stroke. Next, number of cylinders. So by seeing this, we can calculate. If you take an engine of a big vehicle, lorry, how many cylinders will be inside? You can guess. 6 or 5, like that. If you take a small vehicle for a bike, it's a 4-stroke. How many cylinders will be there?
Maximum
4 will be there for vehicles. Only 1 for 2-wheelers. Based for the car, it will be 4 or 3, like that. If you take your Maruti Omni vehicles and all, number of cylinders is 3. So based on this number of cylinders, we can classify as 3 cylinders, 2 cylinders, single cylinder, like that. Okay. Next, based on the ignition, What is the difference between petrol vehicle and diesel vehicle? One component will be different.
So in petrol vehicle we have carburetor. Diesel vehicle we have injector.
Injection, very good. In petrol vehicle you are having carburetor and then
Diesel.
so what is ignition? Ignition.
Noise.
No, ignition. What is meaning? What is the meaning of ignition?
To spark.
Very good. To spark the petrol. Spark means if you take a matchbox and then you are making a spark is coming. That is called as ignition. So whenever the fuel is coming inside an IC engine, that has to be ignited. Okay, then only the continuous burning takes place. So that in case of a petrol engine, we are using a spark plug. So a spark is coming from the spark plug. So because of the spark, what happens is air fuel mixture is getting burned up. So that is why that engine is called as spark ignition engine. Whereas in case of diesel engine, there is no spark plug. What happens there is the fuel is compressed. Okay, when the suction, what happens? Air comes inside. So when the compression, fuel is sprayed. So at the end of the compression, what happens is because of this compression, what happens is at the end, the fuel ignites by itself because of compression. So that is why diesel engine is called as compression ignition engine. Petrol engine is called as spark ignition engine because the ignition takes place by spark, whereas here ignition takes place by compression. Are you clear? So like this also you can tell the classifications: compression and spark ignition. Next, based on the cooling, air cooling, water cooling. In four-wheelers, what is the type of cooling? Water cooling. While bikes, air cooling. So based on this cooling also we can call this engines, classify the engine, and based on the position of the cylinders, it can be in vertical position, it can be in horizontal. In some cases there will be a V-type aligned, and based on the head, L-type head, T-type head, like this there are many classifications. Okay, so these are the major classifications of ICs. Okay, thank you.